Today we are pleased to welcome Ryan Son, Managing Director of Rakuten Symphony in Singapore and Korea and Head of Rakuten Maritime. As a serial entrepreneur with a track record of scaling tech startups like Estmob, acquired by Rakuten after expanding its cloud and data transfer services to millions of global users, Ryan brings deep expertise in cloud, mobile and internet services to the maritime sector. Leading Rakuten Maritime's recent launch of comprehensive cybersecurity solutions that integrate IT, OT, and cloud connectivity across a ship's entire life cycle, he's at the forefront of addressing digital transformation challenges, complying with E26, 27 regulations, and advancing secure smart ships through partnerships with ClassNK and CYTUR. And his insights into cyber threats, holistic security strategies, and the future role of AI in maritime make him an ideal voice for these discussions. Thank you so much for joining us, Ryan.
Thank you very much, Joachim. Thank you for having me today.
The maritime industry is undergoing a massive digital transformation. From your perspective, what are the one or two most significant cyber threats that emerge when a vessel becomes a floating data center?
Right. That's a very, it's a good question. When smartphones first appeared in the mid-2000s, people said exactly the same thing. They said, well, it's just a phone, right? But very soon, everyone realized that it was connected computer, like portable computer, that could be hacked, tracked, or manipulated even. So now, as you know, ships are no longer just made of steel and engines. They're like smartphones on the water, constantly connected and collecting data. So that connectivity actually brings enormous efficiency, but also at the same time, it brings new vulnerabilities. So if compromised, it doesn't just affect one vessel, it can impact global trade, the global economy, and even national security. So from my perspective, there are two major threats we should pay close attention to. First, attacks on OT systems that could manipulate navigation or engine control, meaning a hacker could literally steer the ship, right? And second, data leakage through satellite or cloud networks, which can expose sensitive routes or operational data. And we have already seen how vulnerable navigation system can be. For example, a few years ago, we found out that a vessel's ECDIS, electronic chart display and information system, was accessed through an infected USB drive, which was used during a software update. The system began showing slightly delayed or inconsistent positional data, not enough to cause an accident, but enough to take the vessel offline until it was fully revalidated. And this is not a story from a Hollywood movie. It's a real reminder that not even something as simple as plugging in a USB stick can compromise the navigation safety. That's why cybersecurity in maritime is not optional. It's a part of vessels' safety itself.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And it reminds me of a demonstration I visited earlier this year during the Singapore Maritime Week. I visited the university, I think it was the NTU, National Technology University. And in the Cybersecurity Center, I witnessed a demonstration how a vessel can be attacked. And in that case, the vessel was steered into Sentosa Island, which I felt very sorry for Singapore as it's a nice island. It was kind of a fun experiment, but at the same time a bit scary to see when it's taken over that you're not in control of the ship anymore. Let me ask, the new IACS, URE 26-27 regulations are arguably the biggest driver for cybersecurity adoption right now. And beyond simple compliance, what is the most important mindset shift you believe is the most ship owners and operators need to make to truly be secure?
I think this is one of the most important and most misunderstood topics right now. At Rakuten Maritime, we often talk about the uneven access to information and uneven adoption of new technologies across the maritime industry. And some ship owners are well informed and well protected and they are proactive. They have already started designing ships that comply with E26, E27, but others see it as a burden, something they'll have to deal with later or wait to see what others do first. that kind of approach. But this mindset, in my opinion, is very, very risky because these rules were not created to, complicate life for operators. They were created because one successful cyber attack could bring down an entire supply chain. And yet, in our experience, awareness varies dramatically. We have met stakeholders who didn't even know about these rules existed, while others are already spending or budgeting millions for digital compliance. So this gap, that unevenness, is where real danger lies. So the mindset shift has to be this, right? Cybersecurity is not a cost center; it's a safety system. Just as we would not question the need for fire alarm on a ship, we shouldn't question the need for cybersecurity anymore. It's not an IT department issue, it's a part of vessel's lifeline.
And I think if you do it the right way, you can also turn it into a competitive advantage against others as well, not only as a cost burden.
Absolutely.
Rakuten Maritime offers a one-stop solution, covering a ship's entire life cycle. Why is it so critical to start thinking about cybersecurity at the design phase, even before a ship is built, rather than just retrofitting solutions onto existing vessels?
Right. You may have heard this phrase, security by design, right? And this approach has been a standard in industries like IT, automotive, aerospace, and medical devices for the past decades. But unfortunately, the maritime industry just joined this conversation pretty late. And only now, through E26 and E27, are we starting to catch up. So instead of asking why we need it, I think we should ask why it took so long. And more importantly, how can we make it an industry-wide standard quickly enough? So because adding cybersecurity after a ship is built, it's like, carving a new door into a finished ship. It's expensive, it's inefficient, and full of risks. So E26 regulation sends a very clear message to the industry. Security must embed it from day one. For example, think about an engine control system that's already installed on the ship. If you add security later, it might block, critical functions or create latency. And in addition, on land, not at sea, on land, this concept of cybersecurity has been around for a long time, which means incidents are usually easier to manage, even if it happens, right? There are established response frameworks and plenty of experts or organizations ready to step in when something goes wrong. But at sea, it's completely a different story. Maritime cybersecurity is still a relatively new concept, so incident response is far more difficult. There are very few players who can actually help in real time, and unlike on land, a cyber incident at sea can directly lead to safety risks, even loss of life. But if you design it securely from the start, the entire architecture, the hardware, software, and the communication, they will work in harmony and in a safer environment. That's why security by design is not just a concept, it's a necessity for smart and autonomous ships.
And I think what most stakeholders are not aware is that an attacked vessel or a vessel under attack is maybe denied entry into a port. And that is also posing a significant kind of risk and cost factor as well.
That is very true.
Many companies offer cybersecurity products. You describe your offering as a holistic solution. Could you elaborate on your philosophy of integrating IT, OT, and cloud connectivity to protect a vessel, and why this unified approach is more effective than bolting on separate security products?
Absolutely. So at Rakuten, the idea of holistic or end-to-end service has always been part of our DNA. If you look at our other businesses, from mobile networks to e-commerce and fintech, we never provide just one piece. We connect everything: mobile, cloud, banking, membership, and communication. That's how we create real and integrated value. So if you protect just one layer, you leave another exposed. But when you protect the entire connection, you gain visibility, efficiency, and control. For instance, when a ship transfers operational data to the cloud, that flows passes through multiple layers, onboard network, edge cloud, satellite, and shore systems and whatnot. We unify those layers into one security fabric so that every packet of data is verified and traceable, fast and efficient. That's why we mean by holistic, it's not merely about selling more products, it's about creating a single and secure digital environment.
Your partnership with CYTUR and your collaboration with classification societies like ClassNK are key parts of your strategy. How does building this ecosystem of partners help you innovate faster and build more trust than trying to do everything in-house?
Yes. It's because cybersecurity is not, in my opinion, is not just about technology, it's about building trust. And in a very conservative industry like maritime industry, trust is built through collaboration, I believe. So when E26 and E27 were firstly announced in 2023, we immediately started exploring this space. And back then, CYTUR stood out to us because they were one of the very few companies globally developing a product fully aligned or fully satisfying the new regulations. And CYTUR's expertise in shipboard cybersecurity perfectly complemented Rakuten's cloud and data strength. And from their perspective, I believe, Rakuten's agility and innovation, plus our reputation for building large-scale and reliable systems, made us a natural partner, I believe. And with ClassNK, the alignment was even clearer. The ClassNK is a global leader in classification and certification. So working with them helps us, both validate our technology and strengthen trust across the shipbuilding ecosystem. So we have already seen growing interest from major shipyards in Japan, Korea, and some parts from Europe because I believe thanks to this alliance. It shows that when technology and certification come together, innovation moves much faster.
Yeah, excellent point. Looking at the data you gather, you've mentioned a 400% improvement in cyber risk analysis. Can you share in broad terms what kind of insights this advanced analysis provides that a traditional approach might miss?
Traditionally, cybersecurity in the maritime industry was very static. You will do a scan, fill out a report, and that's it. It was more about, ticking the boxes than real defense. So we wanted to change that completely. Our goal was to make cybersecurity predictive and proactive rather than, after the fact or reactive. So from my perspective, for any technology to be regarded as a game changer, like what you mentioned, like a 400% improvement, it needs to go far beyond just improving efficiency. So imagine if your platform could tell you, hey, your vessel class has a 70% chance of communication vulnerability under these conditions, and then after that, it will automatically recommend a patch or solution. Then that's it's not just an improvement of efficiency. That's a changing of the rule of the game, right? So we collect live operational data, use AI to detect anomalies, and generate real-time vulnerability insights. So, for instance, recently, one of our clients identified a recurring data loop that could have actually crashed their system, and they fixed it before it became an actual incident. So, these kind of things, that's the difference. Ship owners no longer react after an attack, they act before it happens.
The industry is buzzing with terms like smart ships and autonomous vessels. And from a cybersecurity standpoint, what's the single biggest hurdle we need to overcome to make fully autonomous shipping a safe and secure reality?
Right. Once AI takes the wheel, the biggest challenge is data integrity. Because even the most advanced AI system will make the wrong decision if it's given wrong data. So before we can talk about full autonomy or full autonomous ships, we need to build a trusted data chain, a network where every data point can be verified. Right now, many ships still manage critical asset data manually, often using Microsoft Excel sheets or paper checklists, which is not ideal considering the gravity of the cybersecurity. And it's not uncommon for ship engineers to email security logs manually after every voyage. And I believe this leaves too much room for human error and inconsistency. So Rakuten Maritime is solving that by automating data collection, data verification, and sharing through products like Scanner and the threat analyzer of in our portfolio. So we want the industry to move from manual inspection to machine validation, and that's the foundation for true autonomous and cyber resilient shipping.
As long the masters don't have to learn how to use Wireshark before they run their vessel. So, okay, I'm cutting that out. I think they're overwhelmed with that if that comes on top of everything. As you look at the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see the role of AI and machine learning evolving in maritime cybersecurity? Will it be more about predicting threats before they happen or automating the response to them?
Well, AI is quickly becoming more than just a tool. It's becoming the immune system of the vessel. It learns, adapts, and strengthens with every incident. So, we all know that cyber attacks will continue. That's reality. But every attack teaches the system how to defend better next time. That's why we have developed two key solutions, threat intelligence and ship honeypot. So this threat intelligence gives ship owners and shipyards real-time visibility into global cyber incidents, even the ones that never make the news. For example, earlier this year, a major shipyard in Asia was hit by a ransomware attack that was never reported publicly. However, within minutes after it happened, our system had flagged it, analyzed the impact, and notified the relevant operators. And then talking about the next one, Ship Honeypot is our other innovation. It creates a digital twin decoy vessel that tricks attackers, into targeting the fake ship instead of the real one. And this helps the operator buy valuable time to respond and, helps us learn the attacker's pattern in real time so that we can be better prepared for the future. So both solutions use machine learning to evolve, predicting, deceiving, and defending smarter every day. So, going forward, AI will work for both points, predicting and also coping with the situation.
Yeah, I love that part with the vessel as a honeypot. It's a very smart move. Yeah, great idea.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite product.
Yeah. Finally, what is Rakuten Maritime's ultimate vision? If you're successful, what will the maritime industry look and feel like in 2035, and what role will secure connectivity have played in that transformation?
Well, thank you for asking this question. So our vision is very clear. Within the next decade, we want every ship in the world to be part of one trusted, secure network. A world where data is shared securely, where innovation is accessible to all, and no stakeholder is left behind technologically. So we call it securely connected oceans. We're not just building cybersecurity tools, we're helping shape the digital foundation of the maritime industry itself. So just like the internet transformed, our communication, decades ago, we believe secure connectivity will transform shipping too. That's the future we want to build from Rakuten Maritime.
That's a great vision. Ryan, that was a super interesting discussion. Thank you so much for this insight, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for asking all those, great questions.
Yeah.